not the best recently. Spelled it. Oh my god. Stop. It's frame rate. Set as departure. However it wants to do that, that's fine. Oh, look at that. Let's get that runway. So yeah, the winds should be better this time. Yeah, and that was the next place was Rudan, which I can type that in. Ready? Wow. Can I please type in? It's the only trouble with the filter being so good, you can't hear me typing at all, so it looks like it doesn't sound like I was even typing then. Well, it probably doesn't. I'm having faith in the filter that it's cutting that stuff out still. Yep, that's the one. Set as arrival. So that should be about 2 hours. If the winds here are accurate, then I should be getting a bit of a tailwind at places, not everywhere. Well, it would have been really good if I'd been flying at night. The winds were really favourable. But not so much now. But they're not bad now. They're just not anywhere near as good as they were. So what I'm going to do... So I'll wait some balances. I might have a Sophie jumping into the chat at some point. I should also copy and paste that just into Facebook in general so people can jump on Twitch. Right, so I'm going to take a good amount of fuel this time, just in case, because last time was shocking. And we want, what do we want? 4, approximately right, and 50 pounds of luggage. Looks like my stream on Twitch is going properly, which is nice. And so what? Payload's good, fuel's good, livery's good. Right. Daytime is good. Let's get going. It's about almost a quarter to 6 here. Oh, check if I can. Oh! Rip earphone users. That was a bit bloody loud. Unnecessary windows. Thank you very much. Right, turn the volume down a wee bit because the airplane's going to be loud in my ears too. So yeah, this should be a 2-hour flight. The 2-hour flight yesterday turned into what would have been a 4-hour. Well, best part of 4 hours anyway, to get bloody nowhere. It's the most ridiculous winds I've ever flown in. Okay, ready to fly. Clear to take off. That's good. Right, let's make sure it's all working. Let's get my get my chat up. There we go. Cool. And what's my extras down a week? Whoa, how high are we? Wow, we're at 4,000 feet here. That's amazing. Right, so should be a reasonably long runway at least. And let's get going. Break off, that's off, yes. It's off. 6 knot winds, way better than what they were yesterday. Still pushing the aircraft around quite a bit. Considering that windsock is barely even moving, you wouldn't think it would blow the plane around this much. Let's try and lift off a wee bit. Higher level, while we gain a bit more airspeed. Go. Kinda. Oh, it does it a wee bit, doesn't it? Just would like a little bit higher. See, even that's overdoing it. Why do you overdo it? Right. A reasonably large.
Addendal 76 continue for west departure. I will contact you next when you leave my airspace.
Oh, will do.
Zahedan Tower, Addendal 76 continue for west departure.
There's not much in the way of low buildings here. It seems like the vast majority of them, at least in this little area here, are 3 and 4 stories or more. Hey, how you doing there, Mud? And Sticky Rice, hello! How you doing? I'm really sorry, I was so bloody tired yesterday. At the end of the stream I just signed off and didn't think to raid you, because I didn't realise you were even on at that point. I had a grand total of 5 people, but you know, would have been nice if I'd remembered. What is that last emoji? Oh, server, if I check Twitch, maybe it's clearer. Oh, that last emoji looked completely different on Aw, Sticky. Oh, I should watch the screen. Watch what I'm doing. Yeah, I like to try and help others out though when I can, even if it's only a small amount. Right, let's get that autopilot on if it'll respond to clicks. I'm clicking on this and it's not responding. What the hell? Now it's responding. It's interesting, it's holding the roll this time, is it? Or is it going to straighten up? I don't know, that was weird. It's supposed to hold the roll, it never does normally. Only flying a plane, why concentrate? I know, right? Had some interesting moments in the plane where my brain's drifted off to do other things. What is it doing? I should also perhaps go with hold altitude there. Get the nose down a wee bit. It's having fun, isn't it? Wow, look at that road down there. Got a full-on cloverleaf highway right there. Can't see it. Just this bloody pillar. Yeah, the mountains in this region, like all the way through Afghanistan and here, the mountains have just been insane. I think because of the lack of vegetation on them, they are like really quite striking. I like the Himalayas were nice as well though.
Addendal 76, you are leaving my airspace. Frequency change approved.
Okay, so I'm going to have to start climbing if I want to get over those mountains. But yeah,
Zahedan Tower, Addendal 76 frequency change.
Hey, Wongstar, hello. How you doing?
Center, Addendal 76 is type Cesna Skyhawk 5 miles.
I am
Request flight following.
trying to make
Dental 76 Tehran.
I like big mounds with lack of vegetation. We're still talking about geography, aren't we? Yeah, definitely.
Dental 76.
I'd like it when the brush is being cut. Right. Sort that altitude out.
Copy a Dental 76.
C mode, and we will get that speed down to the best climb rate if we can. Probably should be getting up to a nice cruise as well. Wow, we're in... What the hell? The winds are still horrible. Oh, that's not good. At least I've got lots of fuel now. Although the winds probably will get better. Shouldn't be horrible the whole way. But yeah, we've still got 40 knot winds that we're going into at the moment. Which is actually going to make that mountain really interesting. Might actually keep it as an 80 knot climb, because I think 75 is just getting a little too close. Too much cattle grazing. Yeah. Yeah, we might make it over those mountains. There's going to be some massive downdrafts getting up to them. This is going to get really interesting, guys. I don't think the camels. I don't think were too much of a environmental issue. It's definitely more the hooved animals that tend to be destroy the stuff. Yeah, they're like, nah. It's too. You need like a couple of little goats or something, or sheep, like miniature ones, or just one normal sized sheep. It's nice and warm in here at the moment. I'm loving this. Well, I do hope these winds sort themselves out. It literally wants a zoo. Definitely. I recommend useful animals to start off with. So yeah, like sheep are generally better than goats because, like doing the being useful. Goats are far too adventurous. I'm flying directly into a 45 knot wind. You can almost double that per kilometers. I think 1 knot is 1.82 something kilometers an hour. Yep. So I've got a ground speed of 51 knots, but I'm actually I've got an airspeed of 97 knots at the moment. So yeah, about half my speed is getting sapped away. This is what happened last time as well. But I checked the weather last time after I'd started my flight, realised that it would be that way for the whole flight. And I had only brought enough fuel for reasonable weather. So I had more fuel than I needed, but not twice the amount of fuel that I needed. Which is pretty much what I would have needed. An absolutely full tank to even stand a chance of getting to where I was going. And there weren't that many airfields along the way. So, yeah, this time I brought more fuel just in case, but I also checked the weather, and the weather said that there might be... Well, the weather didn't mention... Actually, oh god, you know what I should do? Check it again, but check it at altitude. What's that? It's the surface. I may have made a big cock up here. None of this it's looking alright. 6,400. Oh, yeah, no, it's going the other way now. Oh, wow. Okay, yep, so I definitely... Once I'm over these mountains, I need to hug the ground. Because, yeah, up high it's nothing but bad news. But I bought a reasonable amount of fuel this time, so I should be able to fairly easily. I suppose actually the good thing about having all this wind, because I was a little bit worried about the distance to the mountain and maybe able to climb up in time, but because I'm actually running into the wind at the moment, that's extending the distance it's taking to get, or extending the time, but I'm still climbing as if I, you know, so I'm actually climbing faster than well, climbing at the same rate, but for the distance I'm climbing faster, so yeah, although again the downdrafts as we get close to this mountain are going to get extremely interesting. I might need to take over the autopilot, which actually makes me wonder what is, I'll just check chat again, skim the top of the mountain. Yeah, I kind of might be, or I might have to abort if the winds get really bad, which they probably will, because we're in 50 knot winds now. Oh, could I ask one of you guys, does anybody know what the keyboard shortcut for autopilot on and off is? Specifically off. Off is more important than on at the moment. Because one of the major bugs with this sim, as most of us probably who play it would know, is if you try and take control over from the autopilot will try to murder you. Alt F4, thanks, duly noted. I shall be pressing Alt F4 in case of emergency. I'm guessing Sticky Rice doesn't know either. Right, let's do a quick search. Wow, they don't make it easy. Control Alt, it's a 3-key. Wow, okay. You don't have to do that in a hurry. Let's go outside view for a bit, shall we? And make sure the camera is. Oh, so yeah. Oh, look at this. And down. I'm not touching the controls, by the way. As you can probably see by the lack of input there. Wow, what's this look like inside? Oof, 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 oof. Oh no! It's not good. Wow. Okay. Control Alt and X. I'm taking manual control. Whoa, my... Okay, that didn't turn off autopilot. That's going to be a problem, because now my trim's going to be all kinds of screwy, I think. Oh, that's good, yeah. Yeah, there we go, thank you. That reasonably level trim. Could be worse. Better get back in. G'day, Trey. Yes, it does. I haven't been very active lately. Okay, so we should get a pretty massive updraft as we come over here. 500. Woo, woo, woo! Oh, Jesus. God, look at that. That's... Thank you. Yeah, we are... Jesus, what rate are we climbing at? 1,500 feet, and I'm actually at completely neutral. In fact, I'm slightly nose down. Yeah! Yeah, that's definitely seatbelts. Belts required. Alright. God, look at this. Oh, it's nice that you think it's underviewed. That's basically because I haven't been active. And lately I've been battling with fatigue pretty bad, so I just haven't had the willpower to switch on that stream button and get on with it. I've just been so stupidly tired. But things seem to be picking up now, and yeah, I'm just trying to get back on with it. No, I definitely don't stream every day. I streamed yesterday and today. But if you go through my channel, you can see I've had a few weeks, a couple of weeks here and there where I've done no streaming. And my streaming, sometimes I'd stream daily, but it's been fairly short bursts where I've streamed daily. Okay, so try to turn navigation off. Off, that should be off. Let the button click. Autopilot. Can we just hold the altitude we're at for now? It was weird that it tried to climb then. I had given it instructions on how to climb. Okay. Richen the mixture up a wee bit. Yeah, that's part of the reason I've been unemployed for the last 7 years. My body clock does not care what I want. But no, fatigue wasn't because of lack of sleep. I was sick, but it wasn't the flu or anything like that. All it was massive amounts of fatigue, which was great. So yeah, but things are kind of calming down now. Let's select lower. I'm trying to scroll on the scroll wheel. Let's go 5,000. Oranges, meat and beer. Actually, that's not eating any fruit at the moment. I'm eating some vegetables, but I'm on a keto diet at the moment, so anything with sugar is basically out. And been on this diet before, and it definitely helped with a lot of different things, including my joints were a lot better, energy levels were better. All sorts of things were better, so I'm trying it again. It's been a little bit slower this time. I've had some rheumatoid arthritis runs in the family, and I have a feeling it's starting to kick in with me, which is not good, so I'm having to watch that. But that's the other thing that keto diet can really help with too. I have been on a benefit for 7 years, so that has been my living. So really, yeah, hopefully for the better. Because yeah, yeah, it's but also just definitely got into bad habits just with the computer being on it far too late, even before I was unemployed. which didn't help with that. Hey Darth, how you doing, mate? We're in for a long stream today. But yeah, it's yeah. I've had like chronic depression for the last 20 years basically, so that once you got something like that going on, it makes it so much harder to get on top of it. And if you don't get on top of it, you end up in this fucking spiral, which is what happened to me. And the last 3 or 4 years, I've been pulling myself out of it. And it's been slow. It's almost like in itself trying to lose weight. There's almost like no shortcuts. But yeah, things have been getting better. I am hoping to have a job soon. I've got a job lined up. It's just a matter of getting the right things on my license. I have thought about it and kind of, I mean, that's part of the reason I was trying to get into the streaming, because the thing is, working remotely, just with my nature, if it's not, especially if it's not something I'm really, really into, but even if it is something I'm into, and that's one of the things, because I still have, you know, even though I've been getting better, I still have depression and anxiety issues. I've just been, my perspective on things is oh, thanks, Sticky. Oh, thanks again, Sticky. My perspective on things is, to me, feels like it's getting, like a lot of things, when you're really depressed and anxious, a lot of things that are quite little get blown out of proportion, like way out of it. Molehills become absolute mountains, and they may as well be mountains. But now, although I still see the mountains occasionally, like, well, regularly, things still seem like mountains, but I realise very clearly now that they are just molehills, and I can, you know, I try and ask for help if it's available. If I really am struggling, I'll try and power through it otherwise, but before, you just didn't even have the energy to power through it, the mental energy either. So Dre's just asking, what job have I got lined up? Because so if you guys, Dre the Gamer's chatting on YouTube. Dre, I'm also chatting to people on Twitch. So yeah, driving buses. So just probably just metro to, you know, driving around town, usual sort of bus stuff. But they also do other. The company does stuff with. It also does like school buses. It does buses for, like there's buses to the mines and to, which I think they have a, I don't know if Richie, I'm pretty sure Richie's has got that contract. Could be wrong, but they do have one to another place. I can't remember what that was called now, which was a another factory or something of some kind, that they, you know, need a regular bus going there for workers and that. I am 44, turning 45 this year, so yeah. I think to a certain extent that's helping as well with, it's kind of, I feel like it's almost now or never really. I think there's school buses all over the world, Dre. We don't have big yellow buses like the US do. I'm not too sure. Hazarding a guess that you're either in the US or Canada or somewhere like that has the sort of school buses you see in films and TV dramas. But yeah, pretty much every Western country has school buses, but most of them are just very ordinary buses, or like some schools will have their own buses, which are normally like smaller, sort of little, like Nissan buses or Mazda buses or whatever. I think thanks, Sticky Man. Yeah, straight to the gym. I can't afford the gym at the moment, but once I get this job, I've already know the first thing I'm saving up for is a clothes dryer, because that's one of the things I really struggle with. I've actually got clothes out on the line at the moment. But one of the things I really struggle with, especially here where it rains so much, is like I struggle with keeping things clean anyway. But when I want to do, I'm doing laundry, I do a load of laundry, and guaranteed it'll rain that day. Or I'll put the laundry out and then it'll start raining, or it'll just be so cold the laundry doesn't dry for 4 days. And you can have it indoors hanging up for a bit, but that's quite slow, and it's also the clothes just start to smell after a while. Like it's like you try and keep them clean, you try and do that, but like when they don't get proper sunlight or at least air moving through them properly, it just they get really linty. So it's like fuck it, I want to buy a clothes dryer. And I'm wanting to get a one of those ones with the heat pump in it, so it doesn't use that much. It's going to be way more expensive, but it's going to use very little power. So 44.5 million years ago, sticky rice. Just Andre said he's from the US. Yeah, so yeah, we don't get purpose-built school buses, but we have buses that pick up kids from schools that are just for the kids, at least at that point, and then that same bus could be used for just normal bus runs afterwards. This one show you should never watch because of points. There's yeah, now the things that tend to cause anxiety in me are well, relationship issues can definitely cause some major anxiety. That's been the biggest one for me. But then on top of that, you get just silly little things like forms. I mean, yeah, filling out forms and that can be. I don't mind filling out forms for other people. I'm trying to fill out my own forms, trying to find ID and things like that I might not have because of, haven't been keeping organised. Then yeah, you end up with all your different forms of identification scattered to the wind. Trying to gather that up together, trying to get a CV together. I was quite lucky this job hadn't even. All they asked for was references, which was nice. So yeah, but even that was majorly anxiety provoking. I mean, if God forbid my house burned down tomorrow, that would be upsetting, but it probably wouldn't cause that much anxiety for me. Although trying to find a new place to live would be a little bit, but just the actual, I've had, car crashes and stuff like that, and that hasn't. That's like water off a duck's back. I can deal with major things chucked at me more often than not, with the exception of relationships. But yeah, little things just drag me to my knees. It's crazy. Reality shows and drama, especially the news. Yeah, the news just winds me up more now. I think at the moment I try to avoid politics, but it's one of those things that kind of sucks you in a wee bit. Yeah, and I know I'm definitely not alone when it comes to filling out forms. Even for somebody it doesn't cause anxiety with, it's still an unpleasant thing most of the time. I don't think I know anybody that enjoys filling out their own forms. I might know the occasional person that enjoys filling out forms for other people. But yeah, I don't know anybody that enjoys filling out their own forms. Still 39 knot wind, it's crazy. No, it's in the other way. Go. Yeah, we haven't gone very far, have we? I think I'm gonna have to keep my altitude reasonably high too. Well, it's threatening at the moment. Yeah, so it's just over 2 hours at the moment. I don't like the look of these mountains. This is where I feel depth perception would help. I'm hoping at some point, although it's low down on my list now, I'm thinking of waiting till especially with what's been going on with chip shortages, price hikes and all that. Now, I wanted to get a 30 series graphics card, either a 3060 or a 3070, and they're available, but they're just a little bit pricey at the moment. So I'm considering just waiting until the 40 series come out, because if they're going to be charging more or less the same for the 40 series, which they hopefully things have settled down by then. If I can get a 4060, which would be way better, then I can start to do VR with this. Tagirai says, people who fill out forms for others, they're called lawyers. I'm pretty good with reading and writing and comprehension and all that. Forms are just... I'm quite lucky most of... especially when it comes to the tax department here, or you need welfare. Most of the forms are like, say, lived in Australia for a while, and their forms were, oh God, I remember the tax. So the tax one for filling out your tax details for a new job. Was it the new job? It was. I remember that's one of the tax forms anyway. It was like a not so small book. God knows what they were asking. I can't even remember now. But the tax form here is literally one A4 piece of paper, and you've got to put your name on it, your tax number, what tax code you fit into, which is basically determines how much they're going to tax you. That's all on the front page. And then I think if you turn the page, I don't think there's even anything to write. I think on the back page it just tells you how to fill out the front page, and you sign the bottom. That's it. And if they tax you, they figure out their taxes at the end of the year, and if they tax you too much, you get your money back. But yeah, I think you can go to the trouble of hiring an accountant to try and get more money back. But I remember the way that Australia did it back in the early 2000s when I left is you had to go every year, you had to do your taxes. Because they don't do that here, they just basically do it for you. I'm going to have to climb again, aren't I? Okay, right. Good. Up, please. No, up. Up, Gunther, up. And C mode. On C mode, thank you. Down to about 90, I think. Don't trust it to go any lower, especially as we get near these mountains. Or marry an accountant. Yeah. Quotes. Sticky's got a quote here from Alan Watts. No amount of anxiety makes any difference to anything that's going to happen. We have a strange anxiety in the US that if we don't interfere, then it won't happen. Yeah. I don't completely agree with that quote, but it's definitely, I agree with the sentiment of it. I think, unfortunately, anxiety can definitely make a big difference to what's going to happen. and it's often negative. Although there are definitely positive forms of anxiety that help steer you in the right way. But it's like any emotion, too much of it is just not helpful. Even being, I suppose, if you're happy all the time, then that's great, but it can make it, I don't know, I think there'd be negative side effects to being happy all the time as well. Well, I guess there's nothing particularly wrong with being content where you are. Ah, yeah. The mind is a dangerous thing. It's it's a very powerful thing. With anything that's powerful comes danger. And responsibility and all that good stuff. And I think these days it is all too easy to, get so many people falling into depression. And I think part of that is that compared to our ancestors, our life has it's got pressures that we're not used to, but there's also pressures that we have evolved for aren't there. Most of us don't need to particularly worry about where our next meal is coming from. We might not necessarily be eating what we want to eat, but most Western countries have got either a safety net or charities that can help out. Doesn't always work out that way. Some people do end up starving, but it's pretty rare that if you go out to get help that you won't get it. If only the heart had any intelligence. Was there one thing my girlfriend was looking at was the formation, I think pretty much of all creatures, but of the human, was that I don't know how much of it is true and how much was a joke, but apparently the first thing to get formed in the human body is the arsehole. Which, when you look at things like worms and all that and everything, all the sort of animal creatures that we started from, like, when you look at starfish and all that, most basic creatures only have the one orifice, and then the more advanced ones sort of progress to having a mouth and a butthole. So yeah, it would make sense that that would be the first thing to form. Does seem incredibly unpoetic, though. Yeah, it's especially when it is needed. It's something I want to do because food banks helped me out a lot in the past, and I would like to give back to them. Wow, look at this. Amazing. Going out a wee bit more. Okay, I'll be able to hold this altitude. Ah. Still haven't made much progress, have we? Time is going backwards. I don't know how many seconds I'm behind now. Explains why we have politics. Yes, it does. Yeah, I still think a helpful law would be to have that anybody that wants to be a politician is not allowed to be a politician. Maybe, maybe not pick people at random, but have something that, like some sort of, almost like jury duty. You know, like people get picked for jury duty and they can opt out, but nobody gets to put their hand up to do jury duty. You just, you know, you get selected and you can opt out if you've got a good reason, otherwise you have to do it. Just have a similar thing with politics. Yeah. Politicians seem to have such a short attention span these days. Especially when you look back at... God, all I can think of at the moment is... like some of them... Oh, gotta watch this. Some of the medieval times and that, when they were building, you know, cathedrals or even churches that would take multiple generations to build. You know, you'd finish a building that was started by your great-great-grandfather and that. The altitude is it trying to hold? How about don't? There we go. In fact, we can start ascending now. Yeah, hopefully that's... I see there's mountains way over there, but I'm hoping that's the worst of it over. Yeah, I think the trouble is I don't think most yeah, actually, probably you're right to call them rejected lawyers, because I'd say most politicians aren't bright enough to be lawyers. Not that all politicians are stupid, some of them are absolutely brilliant. But, yeah, it does feel a bit like one of those jobs where it's, you do it because that's all you've kind of got left in a weird way, and you just really enjoy confrontation. Well, this works out quite well. As long as we're in descending mode, it doesn't panic when we get a sudden downdraft. Well, and up we go. Wow, we're almost... We were at 1,750 feet per second then. Up. I do hope these winds back off soon. Might actually just back off on the throttle slightly as well. Save some fuel. Going to take a bit longer, but bugger it. I'm careful with it, I should have enough. I hope so, except this screen showing land, not air flow. But it will smooth out because it's flatter terrain. I'm getting all that mechanical turbulence off the mountains at the moment. God, look at this, just so barren. It's hard to believe. What have you sent there? Ah, oh, that's cool. Is that the Chinese farmer that started um, his own little capitalist venture that China ended up, he got in trouble at first, and then China decided to let the farmers do their little thing as a bit of an experiment, which is pretty much why China's sort of a pseudo-capitalist society now. Well, basically is capitalist now with a capitalist dictatorship, basically, isn't it? I've set that to... Wow, I'm still going up. That's hilarious. Yeah. My speed set to 78 for some reason. Get that higher. 100. Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely check that video out. Oh. Fully zoomed out. Damn it. I think let's get the old pointer out. Still got... okay, that's not completely painful. And yeah, I should be able to run real low, so let's get down, because that should get out of the wind. But don't quite want that fast. That'll do. No, I'm descending now at 1100. But yeah, I had it set to descend at 78 knots, and it was just sitting there, nose down, just still climbing. There we go. 600 feet, 50. So yeah, try and get down, because yeah, this bit staying up this high is just absolutely destroying our time and our fuel economy. And put that back to something reasonable, or I forget. Yeah, you should. They should be steadily dropping as I get low. I think they're still going to be about 20-something knots when I get to the ground, but we'll just have to deal with that. Oh, I'm just cruising down. Are you going to be streaming later on, Sticky? Oh, that's not good. I'm already yawning. Was it before sunrise today, though? It'll be pretty much straight to bed for me after this sleep. Maybe not. Won't be far off though. Probably be about 9 o'clock by the time I finish, so yeah. Yep. You're just doing, you're not doing like an epic journey or anything, are you? You're kind of just doing pretty much whatever takes your fancy at the time. Go low at 6. Yeah, see, we are down to 31 knots headwind now. So it's a pretty big improvement. And we've gone from 150 minutes to 100 minutes. Our ETA. Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably I don't know what I'll do once I reach the UK. Thinking of taking a faster plane or a bunch of different planes the rest of the way around the world. Seal trip volcano to volcano. Yeah, that'd be interesting. You'd have to, if you wanted to do the whole of New Zealand, you'd have to include a lot of extinct volcanoes, so... I don't know how many active ones we got, but I'm pretty sure the vast majority of them are up north. I think we have a... oh, Jesus, stop yawning. We have a super volcano here, a bit like Yellowstone as well. Not... I don't think it's anywhere near as big as the one in Yellowstone, but it's still big enough to be classed as a super volcano, if I remember rightly. Actually, I'm not too sure how well it compares, like if it, in what way it compares to Yellowstone. But yeah, that's Rotorua. It's a hot springs area, like in a similar way to Yellowstone. That'd be an interesting thing to then look up. Looks like it's going to be hard stuff to look up. People messaging me on Facebook. Oh. Right. We could fly from lower than this if we wanted. What's the winds now? Oh, wow, hey, we don't need to. We are in 4-knot winds now, they've completely changed. Kind of want to have a look at when that happened, actually. Follow the lava. We're pretty good. You could do a flight. Oh, geez, that would take a while, actually. You could do a flight around the whole Pacific Rim. So, yeah, all the way through the western coast of South America and Mexico and the United States, Canada, Alaska, Siberia, Japan, parts of China and all down there, and then I think does the Pacific. I don't know if the Pacific Rim quite touches on where Australia is, or maybe it, yeah, but yeah, that New Zealand will be part of that as well. Let's actually have a look at that. Let's have a look. That'd be a long flight, but a lot of different places. I just typed in the Pacific without adding rim. I don't think that quite helped. Sorry. Let's try. Pacific Ring of Fire. Okay. Right, so yeah, that doesn't quite touch Australia. Gets very close. Ooh, looks like there's a bridge or a city up ahead. So yeah, the Peru-Chile Trench, Middle America Trench. Apparently Mount St. Helens and Mount Garibaldi are part of it. So yeah, you could do flights over Mount St. Helens and Mount Garibaldi, that'd be interesting. It'd be touched on Russia, then Japan. Pretty much dodges China though, then goes to the Philippines. There's also another bit that goes more into the ocean. The Challenger Deep is part of it. We also go all the way out to Indonesia and Java. That's like this huge area of rifts basically and volcanoes, and just north sort of Papua New Guinea and just north Papua New Guinea, then all the way down to New Zealand and Tonga and all those islands there. Interesting. But yeah, doesn't. They call it the the Ring of Fire, but it doesn't actually go. It's more like the upside down U of fire because it doesn't continue down the bottom. Interesting. Ah, mate, I wish I had some peanuts. I was just asking how the flight's going. Finally gotten into better better conditions. So, in fact, now that it's so quiet, I might just open it up. It might knock us down to an hour if we're lucky. Maybe not, might just knock 5 minutes off, who knows, see where it settles down at. Maybe even 70 minutes. 70 minutes would be nice. Oh, she's still going. Still climbing in speed. Yeah, a little bit. Let's starting to slow down. I reckon it might be 70... 70 or... Okay, 71. CCP won't let the rim go to China. Yeah, that sounds about right. Still ticking down faster than normal seconds. But yeah, she's settling in at about 70 minutes. Cool. Well, that knocked 10. What? Yeah, that was 10. It was very much bang on 80, so it's not about 9 minutes off. Because it probably took about a minute to get down there. Cool. Now that we're flying straight and level, I should also adjust the trim. There we go. Not the trim, the mixture. Could have said trim the mixture, I guess. That would have worked. It's nice and warm in here, but it's not helping with me feeling sleepy. It still looks like mountains that I'm going to have to cross up ahead. Have a coffee as well, but no, I shall resist. Although I could go get my water, wherever that's hiding. Hang on, I will be right back. I'm not going to bother. I'll be right back. Screen. Oops, I shouldn't do that. Oh. There's my water. And back. Oh, I wish I had something sour to drink. That'd be quite nice. But again, staying away from fruit. Anyhow, I'm not entirely staying away from fruit. I'll eat avocados. I've got some of those in the fridge. Need to use those soon. Yeah, staying away from anything with sugar in it, pretty much. Sugar or any decent amount of carbs, so no bread, no pasta, no rice, no potatoes, no sweet potatoes, no parsnips, pretty much no root vegetables. Leafy greens are okay, most sort of beans in sort of moderation are okay. And meat, eggs, dairy, well, no milk because that's got sugar in it. I'd have to limit. I could have cream with some things, but again, that's still got a decent amount of sugar in it, so I've got to limit that. No, it has quite the opposite effect, because you're running off fat and protein, mostly fat. I find if you live off sugar and carbs, then that's when you end up with no energy. Yeah, water. That's what I'm drinking now because I've been out doing the lawn and that. I drank a wee bit, but yeah, yeah. No, sugar's sugar's pretty much as bad as alcohol. So the leafy greens and all that are okay because although they've got carbs in them, they're locked up in fibre, so it gets into your lower gut where the bacteria digests it, and that basically converts that carb straight into fat that you can use. So yeah, but yeah, no, stabilized a lot of things for me. Joint pain. Yeah, you could eat insects. Any sort of animal product is absolutely fine. Really hard to do the diet if you're going vegan. Um, Not impossible. What are those emojis? Hang on. Ah, I would love to go to Cambodia and try that. I did try woodlouse or slaters for shits and giggles and to see. So some people reckon they tasted. Probably depends what they're eating and stuff, but some people reckon they tasted almost like little mini prawn, like not sorry, they had like almost a seafoody sort of taste to them apparently, and it's like nah, it just tasted like ash to me. So you can get. I think one of the insect things you can get. It's not that hard to get. Is oh god, what was it? Uh, I keep going to say cockroach. It wasn't anything to do with the cockroach. Like cricket flour or something. Grasshopper flour, something like that. Apparently, it's really dry though. It's quite. If you're cooking with it, you just use it like normal flour. You end up with food that just absolutely sucks all the moisture out of your mouth. The flying prawn. That's pretty cool. Is it anything like a prawn to eat? It's not good when they deep fry it. Because I've seen them cook what looked like tarantulas basically in an open fire. Um, I think they covered them with some sort of flour first or something, so it just didn't just like burn the meat. Kind of it burnt the flour on the outside, then you pick that off and add the meat in the middle. What do you reckon? Better fly over the top of those, or am I going to have to do a manual deviation around? I reckon we try for straight over the top. I reckon we'll lose too much time going around. Ah, see, the diet I'm on, oil is absolutely fine. It's another fat, so it's good for you. long as it's when you're mixing sugars and carbohydrates with oils that it starts getting bad. Ah, burn the tarantula to get rid of the hairs, yeah. Spider pubic hair. Yeah, tarantula hairs can be quite nasty too, can't they? It can be really irritating. You know, the worst thing for your health isn't so much diet or anything like that, it's fucking stress. That's the real killer. I mean, you've got to die of something eventually, but stress kills you quicker than anything else. You got 6 viewers. Yes. Yeah, no, I got what you meant. Yeah. It's almost like we learned to speak another language with the spell check errors. We have to, like, undo the errors in our head as we're reading our friends' texts and stuff. Interesting patterns on the ground there. Almost looks like a sort of military thing. Yeah, some interesting stuff on how, like, interesting reading out there about how, yeah, Area 51, Iran's Area 51. It's interesting reading out there about how fat was demonized back, God, I think it was mostly back in the 50s and that. They're doing, was it one of the presidents had a heart attack? And they determined it was because he had too much fat in his diet. Because the basic theory was if you eat fat, then that's what goes straight into your veins. But there was no real scientific evidence for that. But it made sense to people, and so it stuck. And plus, you had the whole sugar industry and with the wheat and the corn and all that, pushing it hard for people to be having cereals for breakfast, and then that sugar wasn't a problem, it was the fat that was the problem. So you had all those low fat versions of things everywhere. You know, you get the obscene thing of a whole bag of marshmallows, and the biggest thing it's got on there is it's got 0% fat. It's like, yeah, but 100% sugar. I wonder why they're like there's just this absolute epidemic of diabetes. But yeah, as that sodium's not particularly a problem either. That's another thing that's been demonized. Yeah, well, I've heard arguments that that table salt itself, because that's not just sodium, sodium chloride. That sodium chloride might be a bit of an issue, but if you're just getting enough, if you're getting the actual sodium, isn't a problem at all. But yeah, I haven't seen a hell of a lot about the actual sodium chloride component being a... There was one guy was writing a thing about it, but I haven't seen anything else to back that up. But yeah, that's the other thing people have been cutting out way too much. You don't need a huge amount of salt in your diet, but you do need a reasonable amount, and people have just gone crazy. Like, some people have gone crazy on cutting salt out of their diet because they think it's anything that too much of anything is bad for you. But some, you know, obviously some things more than others. And yeah, cutting out your sodium intake, it's, if you're really going out of your way to cut your sodium out, it can be quite detrimental to your health. Diet water. Oh god. The only thing I might work as far as diet water would be water laced with amphetamines to boost your metabolism up momentarily. From Christie. Amphetamine water, yeah. Gets you going. You know what? Those... From this view, those mountains really don't look like an issue. We might be alright. Oh wow, I would... Like, I suppose I've got to be careful what I say. Which, hypothetically, I would love to try some of that stuff before I die. It's really hard to find stuff that's legit and trustworthy. I wouldn't mind going to a country where it was like Portugal or somewhere where it had been legalized. DMT is another thing that I would love to try. Oh no, we get more ground turbulence. God, this terrain is amazing though. It does make me want to just go out and plant trees on it though. God, you can imagine like thousands of years ago if this was all like marshland and wetlands and stuff. What I understand, the Middle East used to be a hell of a lot greener than it is today. And not that long ago either, like... Yeah. What are we, about halfway, I think? And wind's picking up, but that's not surprising actually. But at least it's a crosswind. Yeah. I think I'm going to need to climb on it. Yeah, it's totally pointing at the ground. Right, let's get another 1,000 feet. then should be fairly smooth sailing once we've gotten over this little ridge. Yeah, we're gonna need more of that. Hey, 100 messages with the restream chat today. You sent me some tart water on Discord, thank you. I'm parched. Have a look. Discord, where are you? Hiding, as usual. Darkness. Oh, there was somebody sitting in their tart water. Oh, that's amazing. Let's jump in my streaming thing. I don't know if Darth is still on, if he wants to join me or not. You can join me too if you want, Sticky. Keep forgetting about Discord. When it comes to streaming, anyway. Is there actually sugar in that diet water? That would be hilarious. Wow. Yeah, first time I tried this, I was mostly sticking to they call like the carnivore diet, where it's pretty much entirely meat, eggs, butter, fat, what else? Yeah, cheese. The only thing I really missed on that was like leafy greens and the occasional like beans and stuff. I didn't miss bread or anything like that. That is true. Yeah, drink enough of it fast enough. I can't believe there was that incident in, I'm pretty sure it was in the US, where a radio station had a competition to see who could drink the most water, and they had people phoning them up warning them that this was a really dumb idea and what could happen, and they were just laughing it off like, oh, it's just water. Like, I think they ended up getting done for some sort of they ended up getting charged with something like yeah, I can't remember the exact thing now, but yeah, it was just yeah, that's been. I've looked into that as well because there's been some misinformation with some of the what was it? Was it Okinawa? They were looking at long-lived Japanese, and when they did the survey at the time, the Japanese had been eating a lot of rice and stuff, but that actually wasn't their normal diet. Because this was pretty much immediately after the war. Oh, you can come onto my channel and curse. But yeah, the Japanese weren't eating their usual food because of the war. So that was a fairly short period of time. That had no real effect on their lifespan. It was, the long-lived ones had lived a long time, and they'd been eating a diet very heavy in like fish and I think pigs as well, a lot of pork, and they liked their food very fatty as well. So, that being said, I've also heard that if you pretty much cut out um, like the sort of the on the more vegan side of it, if you live off mostly starches and stuff, obviously you need some fats and that, but if you're mostly living off starches, you can also be very good for the body as well. But yeah, the biggest problem seems to be when you're mixing starches and sugars with fats. Seems to be the body doesn't like dealing with both.
Hello, Denzel.
G'day, Darth. How you doing, mate?
I'm okay.
You're okay? Bit stressed?
I'm cursing a lot because I suck at first-person shooters now.
Oh, and you didn't
Stopped playing them for too long. 20-odd years, I think.
Wow.
Yes.
You weren't playing that Beat one,
No,
were you?
I'm playing Apex.
Playing what?
Apex Legends.
Oh, Apex Legends.
And not doing very well at it either.
No, I really don't like those sort of shooters. I'm too old and slow. War Thunders. Hey, do you want to play? Did you ever install War Thunder?
I have it installed, yep.
Yeah, is it updated?
Just about. I was doing it last night.
Ooh. We could play some War Thunder.
So unless there's a patch that I don't know of today, then I've still got it.
I think the patch was yesterday or the day before. Oh, no.
When are you thinking of playing it?
Wait, I can play it immediately after this if you like.
Oh, I might think about it at the time.
Yeah, I'll let you mull that over. Used to occasionally get Nick to come on, but he refuses to play it these days. Sticky, when you say you think that was done in Australia, is that the radio station with the water drinking competition? Oh, an airfield up that way. How do you know? So what do we got now? It's gone back to an hour, but get out of these high winds. Back down to the lower altitudes. Go wee all the way down, and that will give us a nice boost. Go. That should be good. Look what that link goes to. Ah. Yeah. I'm wondering if I've actually seen the tortoises. Definitely, it's just like, yep, I know where I'm going. Rabbit's like, I don't know, just not feeling it. Life decisions to make. The business even trying to call to the rabbit. Hey, tortoise wins. Rabbit's like, no, not getting paid enough for this. Oh, that's awesome. I think I have seen it before. I'm not 100% sure, but it does does look familiar. It may very well have been a somebody else doing the same thing. And we've got fuel still have up tank. It's good. It's good. Very
Half a
good.
tank of gas is always good, isn't it?
Oh yeah, especially when you're more than halfway through the journey. Oops. That air indicator. Try and watch when the airspeed flips from being this quite nasty headwind to suddenly wind going in the other direction. 19, 18 knots. I do love how accurate the weather is in this game. Like, it's not perfect, but it's not far off. Getting slower and slower.
Yeah. That'll be my own fault for trying to do something alone.
Was it you, me, and Nick the other day playing?
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Fortnite though.
Yeah. God, we sucked at
Yeah. I don't like the building during game fighting. It feels too much like Tetris in my shooter.
Yes.
Good shooting, buddy. Fun.
I should take my eye off this. It's gonna. Oh, where does it start now? Okay.
Well,
Tell I've been flying too long. I'm fascinated by this wind meter at the moment. When's it going to change direction? Oh no, it's slowly getting more. It's like slowly working its way clockwise. Very, very slowly. Damn it. Down faster. Maybe it's not going to change direction now. Or not significantly. 4 miles to go. It's definitely, yeah. It is turning. Spectacular. There we are. This is the first time in ages that I've been flying for an extended period of time with no buildings anywhere in sight. I think even Afghanistan, you wouldn't go for very long without seeing a building somewhere. But yeah, it's just nothing out here. It's the wind has calmed right down, so that's great. A couple 4 miles in that time. What is that whooshing sound?
Sorry guys, Delta, radio check.
Hello. Hi, Sticky.
Are
Sorry.
you making that whoosh?
I think it must have been.
Yeah, that wind.
Was that actually wind?
Yeah,
Wow.
that was me.
Brilliant.
I don't know if that kind of stuff would be picked up on our mics anymore at Dinsel because of the background noise killer.
Yeah, that's oh yeah, wind noise wouldn't be for us, but we can still pick it up on our headsets. I like listening to it.
True. It sounded very convincing, Sticky. Or should we
I
call
could
you
do a cat
Rice?
one too. Yeah, Ricky Rice is good. Anything.
I reckon Rice, because I feel like calling you Sticky all the time.
Sticky is a catchy name. It's Stick. You know what I mean?
Sticks, yeah, exactly.
It sticks.
Like the best kind of rice is the sticky rice, though, especially when you're using chopsticks. That is probably something I do miss, though, is being able to eat rice. I am quite fond of sushi and that.
Sushi is always good.
Yeah.
I think it's a strange thing. The Japanese use chopsticks, but Southeast Asians use their fingers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Laos and Thai, and you got Burma and all those places. They use
India
the
as
sticky rice.
well.
Use the hands.
Yep. India, tradition to eat with your hands as well.
As well, with your hands.
I think a lot of places in the Middle East as well. So, yeah. There's a lot of foods I don't mind eating with my hands, but when it comes to like things like rice and that kind of liquidy, no, not necessarily liquidy, but soft food like, you know, rice and that, I would rather use a utensil. Are we down to altitude? We are.
Yes, we are. So, how long till landing?
We have got 35 minutes, I think. 36 and a half minutes. There we go.
Let's see.
Just give me a sec, guys. I got the computer on. I can hear an echo.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm glad I just made it a 2-hour flight today. I don't think I could have dealt with it going on for too much longer. Try to catch up with Brett Plays. He's made it all the way to Q8. So I've got some catching up to do. He's in a much faster plane too.
You are? Or he is?
He is. But because my streaming just slacked right off for the last month or so, it's he's left me behind.
Oh.
That's all right. No, we were like neck and neck for ages, and I'd get ahead, and then he'd have to catch up. But yeah. Check Facebook. They have messages. One message.
Welcome.
Oh, was it?
I was saying welcome to whoever rejoined in.
Ah.
I'm in now.
Welcome back. You're on a different mic now.
Does it sound more clear?
Yeah, it does.
Certainly does.
I was just using the Bluetooth via the phone while streaming it onto the television. Not streaming it, Chromecasting it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it sounds a lot clearer now. It's a bit quieter, but still.
Oh, okay.
Sure, we can fix that.
The wind will fix it.
The wind.
But also the
That-
cat.
That headwind at the start of the flight was insane, wasn't it?
The start of this flight.
Yeah. 45, did you say? Knots?
Yeah, that's what yesterday was like the whole time. It was just nuts. Whereas, like down at this level, yesterday it was still blowing like 20-30 knots. Whereas
Right, yeah.
now it's only blowing 50 knots when I get up to about, yeah, pretty much anything above 5,000 to 6,000 feet. But yeah, yesterday, even though 20 knots doesn't sound so bad when you're flying at this level, you're using a lot more fuel by default.
Right.
So the 20 knots headwind was still too much for me to actually make it if I had to fly down this low to get that. If it had been 20 knots up at 12,000 feet, that would have been absolutely fine. Like, it still wouldn't be nice because you're, 2 steps forwards, 1 step back, or 5 steps forwards, 1 step back. But yeah, yesterday it was literally, I was losing probably about 40% of my speed, 40 to 45% of my speed just from the headwind. It's absolutely crawling.
It's a very strong headwind.
It was amazing. So I ended up flying down south to a much closer runway, and I think, let's have a look, I think it was still almost like somewhere around a 3-hour stream. And I'd hardly gone anywhere.
So it looks like now you have a bit of a tailwind, more of a crosswind.
It's still mostly a headwind. You look at. There's also they fixed this. This used to point into the direction the wind was coming from, which apparently was wrong. It's now pointing the way the wind is going. So you look at that, the wind is pretty much coming across here.
Oh, so that's a 10-knot headwind.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the way it used to show it, that would have been a 10 knot power wind, but they...
Oh.
I don't know when they fixed it, but yeah. Yeah, got
I think it was 2 updates before.
Right, yeah, I completely missed it in the notes, so...
I guess ground speed's 117 at the moment. Oh, no. What is it saying GS at 111?
Yep, so 117 knots ground speed, 127 crew airspeed, which is exactly right for a 10 knot. It's literally 10 knots getting taken off there. So yeah, it's very close to being a direct.
A direct head, yeah.
Yeah.
It's good that they fixed it though.
Yeah, they seem to be slowly sort of fixing other things as well, which is great. Hopefully we'll end up with something close to perfect by the time they decide to drop support for it. But I don't know.
Next year.
Well, they want to support it for 10 years as their goal, but whether that happens or not. But it's been incredibly popular, so it'll be...
Hey, Digital, I've got a shield for you tonight.
What was that? I heard something about a shield. And nothing more. Okay, so no, it was just shy of a 2-hour stream yesterday. Which is...
That's a pretty good stream though. 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
I didn't go anywhere there. I was like, oh...
Just like flying a helicopter.
Yeah, it was just about it. It was like flying into the wind. I was doing like, my ground speed was like 50 to 53 knots.
My goodness.
And after an hour of flying into that, I decided, nah, I'm not going to fly back to where I came from. I want to at least go to somewhere. So I found one of the next closest airports that was at least sort of heading in kind of the right direction, so I headed south and yeah, landed there. But oh, I don't know, were you there for that landing? I don't think you were. I think you'd already started streaming. It was I had to abort the landing, and the wind's so strong that I couldn't put enough rudder input in to keep my airplane on the runway.
Oh, actually, that just reminded me of a flight I did to Invercargill down south. Yeah. Oh my goodness, the wind! Like I was just looking at the window and I could still see that, like at night time, that the house was still there for about 5 minutes.
Wow.
So I think I had like a 30-knot headwind or something, 40 knots.
Yeah.
And it was really slow and more of a crosswind and a headwind, and I was just crabbing all the way, and it took about 20 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
On approach, yeah. Does it actually get windy down there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how windy it often gets down there, because I live just north. I live in Dunedin.
Oh, Dunedin?
Yeah.
How many hours drive is that?
It's about 2 hours.
Okay, that's not that far.
No, it's pretty close. But just because the terrain in New Zealand is so variable, it has there's lots of little microclimates.
Ah, yes.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. If you don't like living in one spot, you can move to another spot and you end up with completely different weather.
Yeah, I think Victoria or Tasmania has a similar thing too.
Tasmania definitely. I lived in Tasmania for about 8 years as well.
4 summers in one, 4 seasons in one day.
Yeah, but then, like as I said, you can literally. I had a friend that used to live with us. I lived over one of the mountains in a valley outside of Hobart.
Okay, yeah.
And that was actually very similar to the weather that we get in Dunedin. Like
I assume that it was cold in the valley.
It was, but it could also get quite hot as well. It wasn't particularly extreme, like in the middle of winter. I think we managed to get snow there once. No, we got one decent snowfall, which so far has been my experience at Dunedin. And you'd get the occasional snow, but mostly you'd just get frosts. in winter, and
Oh, the frost,
never,
yeah.
it was never ridiculously cold. I think you normally sort of, you might get maybe down to -5, but not much more.
I actually think that's the coldest I've ever been in -5.
Yeah.
Or -6. I haven't been colder than that.
Right. I worked in a freezer that could get colder. That was colder than that. That was about -15, I think. That was interesting. But yeah. But then one of my friends, one of my schoolmates, he moved. It's probably about a 45-minute drive just down the basically down the river, and it was basically sort of around the other side of another hill, and you could go there, and it was like a summer vacation area. Like it might be, say, you had a good summer day in Hobart or wherever it was like 20 degrees, and you go to where there's a place called Kingston. You go to Kingston, and it was like 30 degrees, and it's like,
Oh, wow.
It was just, I mean, maybe it was only like 25 degrees, something like that, but it was like, it was noticeably warmer. And even in winter, it was a much nicer place to be than either Hobart or Collinsville, which is the place I used to live.
I assume that's where the population of down there is. Take it.
I don't know what the population split is. Hobart's still pretty small.
What's the code of the airport you're approaching at? Are you in live weather?
I am. Twiddle that. OIRU.
OIRU. I'll just check the meter for that. Hey, what's going on? Hold on.
Good.
ORIU.
Yeah, OIRU.
I.
Yeah, orange, indigo, Rupert.
Uniform.
Uniform, yeah. I'm just making up my own as I go. It might be Oscar, India.
Oscar, India. Okay. Oscar in India.
I can't remember what R is.
Romeo uniform.
Romeo uniform. There we go.
R. Oh, that is strange. The weather meter doesn't pick this airport up.
That is. I'm not hugely surprised, actually, because quite often I'll look up where my destination.
Yeah.
Online, so I can, talk a bit about it where I'm going. Just couldn't find anything on this place, so.
No, but it's good on approach in case you get those really bad crosswinds, and if you're joining the circuit, that does help a lot. So you're kind of prepared for it.
Yeah.
Oh, the mountains are good here. Look at that.
Yeah. I normally just winds are picking up, which actually makes sense because it's getting blasted.
Oh, 16 knots.
Yeah.
17 knots. Here we go. Let's see if we can hit 25.
I can normally tell just by this meter what I'm kind of in for with the landings.
Yeah. Okay.
Although sometimes it changes dramatically just in the last couple of 100 feet. Normally for the better.
Of course.
Normally it ends up calming down on the runway, but sometimes it's worse. There you go.
Looks like a clearing out there. 7 people.
7 people. Oh my god.
The lurkers are lurking.
The lurkers. Yes, they're good at lurking.
Hello, lurkers. All is welcome.
Don't forget to follow if you want to see more of me. Desperately trying to find something to read on a flight. Yeah, it is spectacular, eh? But it's got that.
They are it's just photogrammetry, isn't it? Looks like it.
I don't know if
I think that's
this
correctly.
counts as photogrammetry. It might do. Well, as I understand it, the buildings, when they've got the buildings.
Generic.
Hello, Polymath. Hey, Christy. She's like, she beat me to it. Polymath just said, look.
There we are.
Yeah, I know that it's definitely photogrammetry, and they've got the cities that they've done all that drone footage from that they've then compiled into height data and textures for the buildings.
Okay.
I think this just counts as satellite imagery overlaid on height data.
So, an overlay. Yeah.
Yeah, and they also, because I mean, this is all taken from, well, most of this is taken from big maps, so there'll also be in certain areas it'll be aerial photography as well.
Oh, okay. Now we can see what's in North Korea now, can't we, with this game?
Yeah, up to a point. I think they still have top secret areas cleverly disguised in for the Western countries at least.
Ah, yes, of course.
Yeah.
I think they're doing a lot of things underground.
Yeah.
They sure would.
But there are definitely, there was a few examples that was either a website or a video, I can't remember what it was now, but a few places that were not like their real life counterparts in FSX, and I think it included this one because it was considered military. Like, it wasn't like top secret. It wasn't like you couldn't fly a plane somewhat nearby and see this stuff. Although some of these things were certainly in no-fly zones. You couldn't see what's going on. But yeah, that kind of stuff is made deliberately inaccurate. So they might have the base there, but it won't look anything like what the actual real base looks like.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Of course.
Thanks for dropping by, ladies.
That's hooray. Here we go. I can see the airport, I think. 12 o'clock, just to your nose. Just a little clear patch before...
I'm not that close. I'm still 40 miles out. I'm going to have to climb over those mountains.
Oh, it's actually over the mountains?
Yeah.
Looks like just before the mountains.
I didn't even notice there were more mountains, but there they are. Okay.
I think it's just on the bottom there.
We will see.
No, that's just before.
I don't think so. Those mountains are approaching awfully quickly, and that is not. We're 21 minutes till we reach. Yeah, so it's definitely over the top of those mountains. We climb again. So headwind now. Headwind's getting up to 20 knots.
Oh, it's increased. Well, 21 now.
Yeah. Oops.
You might want to follow maybe the valley to the right.
Yeah, I don't think I'd end up saving that much time. So we're just going to do a quick climb. It doesn't need to be 7,000, but 1,000 off that. Oh, a human! There is a human flying in front of me. Now that has been a while since I've seen anybody else anywhere near me. So Polymath, are you streaming at the moment? No, you were just watching me. Watching me, watching you. Uh-huh. Whoa, I just got a massive case of dizziness. Oh, that was weird. Had me slightly concerned there might have been an earthquake for a second. Not Terraria. That's gonna be fine. It's going to be fine. Absolutely marvelous.
Oh, gotcha. Sink. Glide slow. Oh.
Oh. Did you just hear that? That's
It should be going like crazy. If you're in the airline, all these alarms would have been.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Especially the speeds you're doing in an airliner. You need that like on a soundboard or something.
Oh, that's a good idea, actually.
Yeah.
Creating a soundboard while. Because I actually use Touch Portal, I might create a little thing for it.
It would be fun to like mess with
People's minds.
Yeah, like when you're on their Discords and stuff to get that blaring across.
Because then
up, terrain, terrain, pull up. It's like,
especially like a night flight, then you see the camera panning left to right, left to right. Well, it's important to simulate fear and scare and.
Exactly, you got to keep people on their toes.
Yes. You can't
do the oh god, yeah, because you could do the stall horn.
Oh, the stall, yeah, bank angle and
yeah, the sound of the stick shakers.
Oh yeah,
oh, that's what are people going to think of us?
Can you hear that?
No, it's like I think it's just slightly too. It's it catches tiny bits and it goes all robotic. I think it's just right on the edge.
Speed. Just climb now. Climb now. Climb. Thing.
What aircraft that's from?
Yeah, that's a weird. I think that was an aircraft probably from the 80s, probably like a 727, like a 727 or something.
Yeah.
Because the modern ones wouldn't have that. They kept it more simple and basic, and it's just TCAS that will go off as well.
And apparently they deliberately use female voices too, because apparently that, although many partners and wives would disagree, but apparently female voice tends to grab at the attention quicker.
Oh, absolutely. Even on the trains in Sydney, it's usually a female voice. Yeah. It used to be.
Yep, I remember that in Perth as well.
It's like a mother figure.
Yeah.
With the wooden spoon.
Right.
Where is that lake? Is that a dry lake, maybe?
I'm not 100% sure.
I think you've got one more mountain then.
Yeah, probably do. It's probably over here somewhere. Still got, what, 18 minutes to go at this rate?
There's some nice little villages to the right, looks like.
Yeah, we're starting to see civilization again.
Woohoo! Wi-Fi! To all those backpackers, they freak out when there's no Wi-Fi.
Oh, I can imagine.
I noticed that the backpackers, when they travel through Asia, they want to feel with Earth and all this, loving thing. But once the Wi-Fi goes, oh, they'll go crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to have a like when I was playing. God, was it? I think I was on TeamSpeak still, and we had this Iranian guy pop in who was still like living in Iran. He had he had horrendous internet. Although I was kind of impressed because I think Iran's it's got a little bit like China. It's got you basically need to use a VPN to.
Oh, correct. Yeah, you have to. Yeah. Because if you talk about the government, you know what happens.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, he was quite funny. He was always making jokes about, killing us and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like, kill you. But yeah, we used to play 7 Days to Die together, and his internet was good enough to play the game fairly well. But like, if there was games we were going to play together, he'd get me to give him a heads up because he basically didn't download games. He would like I think there was like basically a store that he would go to with pirated games and that, where he'd get the down. I don't know if they were pirated, but he would get the latest download from somebody else and install it on his computer that way rather than using his internet.
Oh, it's just like using a uTorrent and you're downloading games, but then you have to find other ways, to connect or find a key. But we have to always update the key.
Yeah, I have a feeling that he was mostly playing genuine versions of the games, but it was just, I remember his download was just, it wasn't. I think it might have been I think he had a very limited data cap as well, so.
That'll be hard.
Yeah, so kind of took me back in time to
dial up.
Yeah, or even pre-dial up when you had to go around to a friend's place with a bunch of discs.
I remember that. Yeah. Floppy or just the CD-ROM?
No, because by the time we had a CD-ROM, then we had the internet. So yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, back then as well, when I was having to all I could pretty much, I didn't have an income back then. I didn't get much in the way of pocket money or anything, so it was you'd buy a box of 50 floppy disks from the local Big W.
Oh, that's right. Yes, yes.
God, they used
we
to
go to the
so
markets to get the floppy disk, get copies, and just share it all for school. And
yeah. Good old Amiga days. Yeah.
Could you imagine how many floppy disks you had to download for this Flight Sim 2020?
It was, the original download was 110 gigabytes.
Oh, was it 110?
Yeah, that was the original download, if I remember right. And I can't remember how much the Amiga could fit on a, because they didn't use, the Amiga back then didn't use double density disks.
The Amiga was 2 megabytes of memory or something, wasn't it? So small.
No, it depended on the Amiga you had.
Okay.
So when the very first Amiga came out, that came out with 256K, but they quickly realised that really wasn't enough, and that was the Amiga 1000. That was the first Amiga, and it looked like a PC more or less, like it was a sort of a desktop box thing. And
okay, so when you started it, you had to put your disc in first time.
Yes,
away.
Yeah, you had to kick the. It had the kickstart on the actual ROM was a floppy disk.
I actually didn't mind those games, and then Doom came in, I think.
Yeah, Doom was what was the nail in the coffin.
That was mind-blowing 3D.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Minecrafting.
And situation. The way the PC did graphics back then, it made it very easy for it to do that sort of.
With a lot of colors, more colors than usual, just colors.
Yeah, but even when the Amiga 1200 came out and the Amiga 4000, and they had a large, they had a color palette of 16.7 million colors, which was on par with what the PC had at the time.
Wow.
But the way that the Amiga did graphics, it was to do with the way that pixels were stored in memory. Basically, the PC would use only 1 or 2 bytes of memory per pixel, it was ridiculously efficient, whereas the Amiga would use, I think, at least 8 bits of memory, and what they meant was moving that around. It was really good for doing old school arcade games, because you could actually do programming tricks with that, so you could do really easy parallax and all sorts of effects you could do on the screen, but doing 3D graphics like Doom did was incredibly slow.
Oh no, that would have lagged like anything.
Yeah, there were a couple of good games towards the end, but the trouble is, there's a couple of things. One, the PC, the Commodore just let the Amiga, they hadn't upgraded the Amiga for years, and when they finally decided to do it, it was too little too late.
Okay.
And yeah, the company was run so badly.
That's what happened to Sega. The Sega wasn't
so,
it? Sega?
Yeah. And then the investors.
At the end, they crashed.
The investors panicked and basically just told them, no, that's it, sell up. So Commodore was actually getting back into profit and stuff, because they sat on their laurels as well. The Commodore 64, they made so much money with the Commodore 64, They were almost like Apple, you know, like just they had so much money it was like, oh yeah, can never go bankrupt. And yeah, they managed it.
I remember Forrest Gump. He thought it was a fruit company.
Yes.
With Apple, you remember?
Yeah.
It's
ridiculous.
It's amazing how it went. Like these companies.
Yeah. God, it'll be interesting if Apple ever goes belly up in our lifetimes, because they've got so much money. It's just not funny. Like, they don't even need to do anything to make money. They've got that much money.
It is.
Money is absolutely pouring in.
Especially how they hypnotize people. You got to get the latest.
Oh yeah.
And people line up at
Apple was so good at that.
crystal box store. They line up for days just to get something that's got a couple of extra pixels.
Yeah, no, it's mental. I mean,
There's also playing with the Android or Apple. Do you reckon? People will be fighting for this. It's whatever you start with, I guess, and you stick to it.
Yeah, a lot of people are like that. Yeah, I've definitely been guilty of that myself. I wouldn't get an Apple mostly because of, you know, some of their shady practices and that. But then again, how many of the other companies are much better?
I've heard about it. They've got secret practices.
Well,
I think every large company will do something.
Yeah. Apple are pushing so hard against the right to repair at the moment. Like, that's a real sort of... and they make it harder than I think any of the Android phone manufacturers to get parts for your phone as well. That's where they really stand out, from what I can see, as being a bad company. Especially, they say that, you know, trying to be green and reduce e-waste. Well, when you make it so you can't even replace the battery on the phone or a screen if something goes wrong, that's not encouraging.
And the screen is half the price of a phone, probably.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's cheaper just to buy a new phone. Like, it's better to get the next one.
Yeah.
It's not our fault that we are having to get the next one. Why? It's ridiculous to buy you know, just a $600-700 screen.
Well, I mean,
there's $1,000 phone.
Yeah, I mean, again, if I had the money, I wouldn't mind buying one of the phones that was meant to be more, you know, it's a bit of a sort of fair trade type phone, where they pay the people what they're worth, and the phone itself is completely and the phone's completely modular as well. Yeah. So you can, you know, fully customized phone. You can replace bits super easy, but I think that the price of the phone, like just the base model of the phone, because I can't remember the stats, because you could get all sorts of different stats. That is double working here and in Discord. Yeah, I think the stats were okay, but they weren't breathtaking. But the price was like more expensive than the best flagship Android phone you could buy by quite a bit.
Oh wow!
It was just like, yeah. I mean, I can't. You know, I'm not going to be buying a you know, a Samsung S20 or anything anytime soon. I bought an S3 back in the day.
The twist.
Yeah, nothing. I bought a few months ago now. I bought a Nokia Android phone. It was on sale for a couple of $100, down from like $350 or $450.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you, it's just such a piece of shit, eh? Been so disappointed.
You should get the Samsung. Like, I'm actually happy with like a Samsung J Pro or a bit more than that.
Yeah.
Like $300 phone or something. I don't want to go too high. Just something around that kind of works, and you can tap go and all sorts of, you know, just basic things.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna look very carefully for my next phone. But yes, first purchase I want to make once I've saved up enough money is clothes dryer.
Although, just be careful of your electricity bill.
That's why I'm gonna get a heat pump clothes dryer. So
heat pump.
Yeah. So it'll still bump up your electricity bill, especially if you're crazy with it. But it's nowhere near as bad as the ones that just use a heating element.
Oh yeah, the coils and all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like those little $5 heaters.
Yeah,
Like
that's essentially what it is. Yeah.
It makes your electric disc spin like a DJ, like really quick when you turn that on. You see it like it spins at 100 RPM or something. Like the thing just wants to go crazy.
Yeah, well, you basically, oh, that's some rough.
It becomes a direct current. I don't know. Oh, here we go, turbulence.
Yeah. How much longer have we got?
But you can see a lot of colors here, even though it's a desert.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
so much contrast to
Rocks and
pretty
sands.
detailed.
Different. Yeah.
I do enjoy this game more, especially for VFR flights, because you can actually detail to see on the map itself. That's the point of it.
And if you got a fast enough, oh boy. If I can switch that off, it'd be nice. Thank you. Just gonna fly this in manually.
Oh, look at your air. 31 knots headwind.
Yeah.
It went to 34. Oh, yeah, 34. There we go. 37. Oh, you're gusting now.
Fly too low because still amazed there's somebody out here. Like, must be within 200 miles of me for me to see them. Oh, man.
The DA62 at 9,000.
Yeah.
I think the beach barrel would be quite good in this area.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of weight, a lot of power, but not too much power. Oh, I can feel the bumps.
Yeah, it's nasty. Adjust the trim a wee bit. Got too much trim up.
I think the thermals are coming up.
Yeah.
Is it hot outside?
16 degrees.
Oh, that's at this altitude.
Oh, here we go.
611 miles northeast, 5,200 feet inbound to land runway 25.
Okay. Yeah,
there's
this is
the
a
ocean,
dirt strip.
the Dead Sea or something.
Oh wow!
Oh, the
look
map
down
looks
there.
small. That's massive. You see the blue in the distance?
Yeah.
Or is it a mirage?
No, that should be the ocean. The ocean is relatively close now. Just got something really interesting on our left here. Yes.
Suspicious.
Is that their nuclear
There's some
facility?
SAMs.
Yeah, so they're making missiles. That'd be hilarious if it was.
Imagine if they accidentally done
Big
that.
blue building. Interesting.
Could be a mine. Look at that road to the left.
Yeah.
That's on the mountain.
Yep.
That's kind of spiraling like a
Snaking up
snake.
the mountain. Yeah.
Oh, this is awesome. They've got their own water supply. They've got. So that's actually the sea ahead of us.
I am 80% sure that's the ocean, yeah.
On the VFR map, it didn't look that far.
Never does. I didn't touch anything. I still haven't fixed the thing where when you're in this mode and the mouse is locked, if you use the scroll wheel and you happen to be over something that can be turned, it'll turn it.
Oh, have you changed the settings on that?
I didn't know there were settings you could change on that.
Yeah, you could change it. Yeah, so instead of like when
good.
yeah,
Need to find where those are.
I can send you the link on. There was one from a streamer called. He's a Filipino guy who does flight sims and truck simulator and bus simulators.
Ah, yep.
He actually put up a link. How to disconnect that. I've got to find it. that really helped me because it was extremely annoying, especially on approaches and things like this where.
Yeah, I don't know how I got that up. Like, I know I was twiddling with the scroll wheel, but no. Oh, I do. Oh, I don't really need that now, so. Except the wind indicator would be nice to have.
Wind indicator?
Yeah, it's gone because it's.
If you get to your main screen here down the bottom, press the PFD button on the left, in front of you, like not opposite side.
EFD button. Where is it?
It's right on the bottom. Keep going to the left. The first screen, not the second one. Not the co-pilot's, but the captain's screen.
Okay, so.
And then on the bottom says insert and then PFD. No, to the left more.
Oh, the left, the actual left screen.
Yeah, yep.
Ah, okay. Oh, yeah.
There, yeah. It says PFD
Okay.
on the bottom. It says insert and PFD. You click that little arrow.
Yeah.
And you click on winds.
Okay.
And you press the winds, and it should come up and option 3. Oh, it's bumpy.
Okay.
Yeah, I got vertigo. Option 3. That's it. You got that wind there.
Cool, that'll do. Thank you very much.
That usually helps me on every little thing. You always look at that one, so you're focused. Especially when flying through clouds and things.
Yeah.
What was that guy's name?
Oh, an ETA of 1 minute. Okay, so that's the runway down there. Circle around.
I'll try to find this guy and I'll send you that link video.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
James. $1,300. Hope I'm not late.
Yeah, wind's dropped down to 2 or 3 knots now.
And from 30 knots. Wow.
Yeah.
500.
500.
Minimum.
The G1000 in this is very sparse on what it tells you. Don't think it ever tells you to pull up.
I hope someone adds a mod to it so you can. It's normal.
Yeah, I don't know what is normal for the G1000. I don't know if there's even maybe settings in the game you might be able to set it. Oh, good night, Polymath. To adjust my room.
Where on earth is this airport?
It's to my left. I'm circling around because
Joining downwind, I think.
Yeah, I was too high, but I didn't want to land going in the other direction either because of the headwind. But I could have, because it was so.
Could have made you stall, but yeah.
Yeah. There it is. Full flaps. Up a wee bit.
Oh, there it is. Get to 70 knots. 60. Cut the power.
Oh yeah, power is cut. There we go. It's definitely out into the middle of nowhere.
German.
Yes.
I see nothing.
I see nothing.
Oh, that's butter landing. That is butter. And centerline.
Yeah.
You would have passed your commercial pilot's license.
Yay. And I'll have to have gotten that, but I think I'll be quite happy getting my truck licenses and getting my motorbike license back. I used to have that in Australia and just let that lapse.
Is it harder in New Zealand to get a motorbike license?
Different, just different.
Oh, it's different.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like in Australia now either. Because back when
what happened now? Oh, sorry. Yep. Go.
So yeah, back when I got my license, it was a two-step license. So there was a 250cc and a unlimited.
Okay. Yep.
And I already had my car license, so when I passed my 250cc, I went straight from L plates to no plates at all. Because I'd already done provisional, which was correct. Like interesting. Whereas here, when you get your license, when you get your license here, I'm pretty sure it's unrestricted straight away, so you can jump into a 1000cc Kawasaki or something.
Oh, that's crazy.
But you're not allowed.
1000cc.
Yeah, but you know, or whatever, you know, could be you know something with a V8 in it. But you're not allowed to learn on bikes like that. But over here, you're allowed to ride around with a learner's license and an L plate and no instructor. But what whereas in Perth, at least, you had to have an instructor with you at all times.
That's strange.
Do you think that's strange?
That to have an instructor with you at all times.
Yeah, because you're learning. So it's like they don't let you drive around in a car without an instructor anywhere else.
I thought they just took you to like the basic when in New South Wales where you get the L's.
Mm-hmm.
They take you to a little school. It takes 2 days.
Yep.
And then you do a knowledge test, and then you get your L's by yourself, and then you have to come back for your P's to do
right.
that. But if you're over 30, they'll give you the full license instead of going through P's.
Even if you don't have a car license.
Yeah, even if you don't have a car license, it's age.
Oh, that's a bit dodgy.
Age before beauty.
Yeah. In Perth, you had your instructor, and they would get you your handling stuff and all that. They would just do that as your first couple of lessons until you got it right. And then they'd go out on the road with you. And yeah, I think over like anywhere, it is crazy to let people out on the road as learners, even if you've done a 2-day course. That's just not enough because you're not. Yeah.
Because there are definitely people out there that do not know how to ride.
Yeah, and especially with a machine like a motorbike, which is so easy to get yourself killed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anything protecting you is your own skin.
Yeah, I think it should be an absolutely should have to ride with a a qualified, like a qualified instructor too, not just anybody. But in Australia, in Western Australia, it didn't have to be a qualified instructor. It could just be
someone with full license.
Someone with a full license. I think there was a minimum time they had to have held it for. But it wasn't particularly long. It was like, have held it full license for 3 years or something like 2 or 3 years or something like that. It might not even have been that. But I did an instructor for the whole thing, and then when I racked up about 50,000 Ks a year on my bike, going back and forwards from work, because I had an hour to go to work each day.
Oh, wow.
And then I was like, so after that year was up, I thought, well, I want to go for my full now. And I went straight back to the school that had taught me before and got, I think, just one lesson just to make sure I wasn't doing anything particularly stupid. The only thing they caught me out on, because I'd gone from a 250 to a 750. I think it was a 750. I was either a 400 or a 750. I think it was a 750.
Like a Japanese bike.
Yeah, just a Honda, like one of those like commuting Honda, like naked Honda bikes.
Okay, yeah, they've still got power to them.
So much torque. And of course the gear ratios are all different. And so the first thing I did when I came out of the place was I ended up doing like 70 in a 50 zone, or 80. Just because normally, normally you take off in the 250 and you'd have a couple of gear changes before you look down just to make sure you weren't going over the limit, right? Or
That's what you check, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like 2 gear changes on this, I was already doing 80 Ks an hour. It was like, oh shit. So yeah, that was the only thing I got pulled up on the whole thing. So I did that, and so I was feeling pretty confident for the test. I passed the full unrestricted test at the flying colours. But
I think the R1 you hit it on third gear should be at 140 at least.
Oh yeah, like this. I say this was I wasn't ready.
Absolutely crazy.
This was just a commuter 750.
Yeah, no, it's just like you rev a little bit and you're going, and then suddenly you look down, 85, 90, and then don't even realize anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course the bike's got so much momentum to it. It's because it's so much heavier. It rides a lot smoother as well.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was so easy to do the figure eights with.
That would be perfect for training.
I'd been practicing because I had a Kawasaki GPX 250.
Okay, yeah.
And that's a pretty good first bike. And I'd been practicing because I was riding that every single day, but quite often before I left work at night, quite often we'd finish work quite late because the guy I worked for was brilliant. I wouldn't necessarily get overtime, but it was just we'd do cleaning up at the end of the day, and I just hang back and help out. And so it'd quite often be dark, and we were in a like a cul-de-sac, and I'd quite often at the end of the day, before I started riding an hour home, I'd go down to the end of the cul-de-sac and just do like 3 or 4, maybe 5 figure eights down the bottom there, and then bugger off home. And doing that over the course of a year, and then I get to this where they test me on figure eights on a bike that's got a really heavy bike.
Top heavy.
No, not top heavy at all. No. It was because the GPX is a little bit top heavy, but even that's more of a commuter bike as well. Like it looks like a sports bike, but it's made for commuting. And then there's this big heavy 750, and it's like all this weight in this engine that's like down low. Yeah. And the figure eights were so easy, it wasn't funny. Like the GPX would always try to fall over a wee bit in the AP, and I'd always try to do the figure eights as slow as practical. This one, like the instructor said, "Oh, could you speed them up a little bit? You're frightening me." Because I would pretty much at each end of the turn, the bike would pretty much come to a stop before I continued the rest of the figure eight. It was so easy.
So the figure eight test that you had to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Ours was like in and out of witches' hats, like left to right really quickly.
Right. See, that wasn't part of the test, although they did.
Heaps of people failed on that.
Yeah, I can imagine. They did have different training days and all that. Like I was super keen on the whole bike thing. And we had they'd have bike extra training days where a whole bunch of us could we'd pay a little bit extra, and then they'd set up a car park with witches' hats, and they'd teach us extra test our braking and give us tips on how to brake and
Yeah. Well,
sort of judge us on how our braking was.
Yeah.
So
So
that
sort
was
of like
great.
you had to go really slow, keep the power in and the brake on, and go extremely slow before you put your foot down. But you can't put your foot down, otherwise you fail. Is that another test? Like, you know how you
didn't have
test
that.
your
The only
traffic. We
thing
had that.
in the actual test, it was more or less like a normal driving, like a driving test you take in a car, minus things like 3-point turns and parking. But it was. I can't actually remember my 750cc test. Isn't that funny? But my 250 I remember quite clearly because I failed the first one, and that was mostly I wasn't quite ready, and it was nerves, and like the first thing I did, like my first fuck up, which didn't fail me, but a couple other little things, I'd only just failed, but I forgot to do my helmet up. And I forgot to do my helmet up.
Oh shit!
Yeah. But the thing is, I realized real quick and
too.
pulled it over. He said, "It's lucky you pulled over then, because if you'd gone about 30 seconds or more further, I would have failed you on that." But you felt it and you pulled over, and it's okay. So it was a mark against me, but it wasn't a fail.
Oh, thank goodness.
But
it costs money, even though they fail, they'll pay. They'll make you pay, right?
I think back then that you could fail once without it costing you extra. I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, that would have been good, but now it's all changed.
Yeah,
you've got to pay whatever.
But yeah, and there were just a couple other little things that just was enough. Like if I hadn't forgotten my helmet, I probably would have passed that day. But when I took it the second test, it was the difference between, like, he actually said, like, it's time for me to brag, because he actually said to the instructor, that's what was it? He said that's. God, I can't even trying to brag, and I can't remember exactly what he said now. It was something along the lines of, that's the way, that's the way, that like he did everything exactly right. That's exactly the way it should be. Like, that was flawless. So that was the difference. I ended up doing I think I did another 6 lessons after I failed. Because I knew I pretty much had it, but it was just nerves, and I knew I needed the smoothness. So when I did first go, like, they say, "Oh yeah, you ready?" I didn't feel ready.
Yeah, that's probably like a pass. It's got to be your comfortability that you can deal with people in traffic and all sorts of things coming at you,
and also things like you're nervous, not making your riding deteriorate.
All the time, we all get nervous. We're humans, like, especially when there's something coming up in our brain. We know it's a test. It's the end of the world.
But that's definitely the difference between somebody being ready to be let loose on the road and somebody who's not ready. Is if the nerves make your driving unsafe.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, so the test itself included. So we drove out of the car park, rode out of the car park. So rode down the road. So rode through a whole bunch of different areas. I think I might have had to have turned around at one point. Yeah, we did. He had to do a figure 8 for the test, and he took me through like different zones, like school zones and stuff like that, and made sure my speeds are all the right sort of thing. And just paying attention to road position, like where you position yourself on the road, how you corner, your speed through corners, and all that sort of stuff. It was relatively simple test, but just the fact that it's a motorbike makes a relatively simple test a lot less simple than a car.
It does now, because there's a lot of things involved. It's not just turning left, turning right. It's how you approach it, how you're going to go.
Yeah.
The way you're thinking, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so also, how mirror checks and all that kind of stuff. And also, one of the things you had to do as well wasn't just mirror checks, but every time you drove past, like you were driving at an intersection, you had to look down that street.
Oh, yeah, I was keep forgetting that.
Yeah, make it.
I
still do that today.
But always look, always constantly look,
yeah, constantly, absolutely, like scanning all the time. I ride a scooter now.
Okay.
But even when I'm driving a car, I'll still be really focused. But it's so much easier to be on the ball on a scooter, which is like, or on a bike.
Scooters are fun. I actually ride a Honda Grom. It's a 125.
Oh yeah.
Those little ones. It's just to get around, zipping up and down, and
my one's just a 50A. Just a 50cc.
So it's like $6 of fuel per week. Was it like 10? Oh, sorry.
About $10
per week.
$10 a fortnight. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's what we're talking.
Yeah. Probably if once I start working, it'll probably be about 10 a week.
Yeah.
You can't quite fit $10 in the tank, but that's probably about what it'll work out as.
Bring the jerry can with you.
Yeah, it's a 4 liter
The
tank.
spare.
Oh yeah,
That's 4 liter. Yeah. I think mine's about the same. Small.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
Because.
But so this is Afghanistan, is it?
No, that was the last few flights. We are in Iran now.
Oh, Iran.
Yeah. But,
Iran. Tehran is a city, isn't it, of Iran?
I think so, yeah. But yeah, I was just thinking about motorbikes with New Zealand. Here, like, it's the same as where you are, where I think you've got the book test.
Yep.
And then to actually get your Ls, you also need to have a certificate from an instructor that shows you know how to handle a bike.
Yeah, yeah. That'll be good to teach people, like, cause if they can see an uncomfortable rider, then they wouldn't let them pass.
Yeah, exactly. But I still think it's dodgy to let people out on the road even after just that test.
Yeah.
But then, so that's what you do here. But there's also, you can get your license in 2 days if you go through I think it might be more than 2 days. But basically, you can do like an intensive training thing, and you can end up with your full license out of that, and then
like the
but that gets
riding school.
That gets you what you call your restricted license. They have it doesn't matter. It's basically restricted license here is like your P plates, except they don't expire. You've got to take another test to get off them.
Okay.
Yeah, and here it doesn't matter when you get your truck license. It makes a difference if you've already had your car license. So you don't go to restricted on your truck if you're not on your restricted on your car, but it doesn't count for your bike. So even if you're not on your restricted for your car, if you go to a bike, you're stuck with the restricted.
Okay. There's a similar thing like that for a truck, actually. If you had your car license for so many years, then on the truck license, it's quite easy just to upgrade it or something like this. Yeah.
Yeah, I got my my small truck license up to 18 tons, I think. And
18 tons.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a biggie.
Yeah.
18 tons.
Big an actual, that's 18 tons fully loaded.
It's usually by the axles in New South Wales.
Yeah, I think it's the same here.
Like for my license, I can drive like just a normal bus. It's got to be just 2 axles only.
Yeah.
So probably like just a everyday bus, school bus, and but when it comes to coaches and that, I can't because they sometimes have the 3rd wheel at the back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's by axles here.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, they've got a class 4 license is the upgrade from a class 2.
Okay.
And that's
was that about $1,000, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was for the class 2. It was about $1,000. So I was quite lucky. Wins paid for it for me because I'm just getting a job with it.
Oh, it's good. Yeah, use it.
But then the class,
it's amazing. Yeah, in Australia and New Zealand, I think to have a license, it's absolute priority just in case of anything.
Yeah, especially
you just drive an Uber driver or just work as a truck, cash in hand for now.
Yeah. Yeah, I looked at doing that, but I didn't have the necessary, because they have to make sure you're allowed to work in New Zealand, but they'll only accept certain documents. So all I have for ID at the moment is a driver's license, and that wasn't good enough for Uber. Yeah, so they needed DNA. because I'm not I'm an Aussie citizen, not a Kiwi citizen. They needed a passport, and it had to be a current passport. Mine's expired, so I couldn't get any Uber work.
It's catch-22, eh? It's annoying, these things.
It was frustrating, but yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get this job that's coming up.
These we're in 2021. They can't use just looking at you. They type in your name, everything in your photo, everything just come up randomly on the computer.
Should do, but no.
Wait, it's got to be valid. Yeah. What on earth is that?
That's like it's my old passport. It's not like it's a fake one. So yeah, I'm going to end this stream anyway.
Oh, okay, yeah, cool. It was a pretty good stream.
I've still got 5 people watching.
Hello, lurking.
Hello. 6 according to Discord.
6.
Right.
I've got 2 phones.
I could try and
Oh,
I
to
could
Rudan.
try. Is there anybody I can see doing a
One of your followers.
I was just looking to see if I could raid somebody, but nobody I know is doing any streaming.
Okay.
Hmm?
Do you have a nickname? Have you got like a nickname that someone calls you at work?
No, not particularly. No.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I thought that you had your name and then you have. Oh.
I was
All
gonna
right.
say.
Let's do a raid.
I suppose I could just raid a.
Do some
person.
random acts of kindness.
Random acts of kindness. Yes.
Just go search on the thing and then find the lowest one and press it and just scare them.
That's a good
Come
idea.
up?
That's a good idea. Let's have a look. Let's do it. Browse by game.
Lowest to highest.
Flight Simulator. Wow, Flight Simulator is number 3 at the moment.
Is it on the popular thing?
No, that can't be right.
No, Flight Simulator.
I must have something set wrong. Ah, sort by recommended for you. Yeah, okay, that's why.
Oh, recommended view.
Yeah.
Lowest to highest. Yeah, views, lowest to highest. And you got all these people that 1, 2, 1, 2. You probably give them a heart attack when all these people pop in. Boop, 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 boop.
As long as everybody still has, people are probably quickly exiting my stream right now. Going, no.
Still got 5. Please, guys, hold on. We've got to support all streamers.
Ah, bloody adverts. Bloody adverts. Well, this person's obviously got affiliate because they get adverts. Oh, it's a long advert too. Go away. Oh, 17 seconds, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10,
that ad.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
do the Barry White.
3, 2, 1. Right, let's have a... It's got no sound. Oh, it's because I've got it muted. Ah! Looks like they're flying with somebody. They're very quiet. Right. Let's
unlock the lurk.
I need to go back to my channel to raid, don't I?
Yeah. I'm still learning how to raid too. I kind of raided someone because I asked them how to.
Let's see if I can copy their name. Copy, and then back to my channel.
I need to go back to my channel to raid.
Oh, now I can hear myself. That's not good.
Okay, I'm going to get ready with my raiding symbols and stuff.
Right. Oh, God. Slash raid. No, not road. Raid and...
Don't do Google spelling like I do, and it still goes wrong.
Okay, let's see if this works. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Do it.
5, 4.
Who are these randoms?
2, 1. Raid.
I'm gonna follow.
Good idea.
And then, where's my emoji of raiding? There it is. Press that 1,000,000 times. With a couple of Red Bulls and some noodles and get in there. Okay. Boom.
Right, and I am going to end my stream now on that note.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you for the stream today.
Oh,
really good.
Welcome. I'm going to stay in Discord
Sunday
for a while.
sessions, they call it.
Yeah. Trying to catch up with Brett.
Okay, cool. Catching up with Brett.
Yeah. Alright, I'm ending the stream. Bye, guys.
Right. See you later.